Hey guys, I just wanted to come and talk quickly about Ready to Love, the reunion part one. It's like, oh, ooh. I wanted to tie in a concept from a YouTuber named Chloe who talks about hypergamy and just strategy for women in relationships and how to level up in life. One of the concepts that she talked about that I really resonate with was the ability to walk away. It's such an underrated skill set. And there's so much power in being able to walk away from a relationship that is not serving your best interest, or walking away from a man who's being iffy with you, and just walking away when you know you are not getting what you deserve, when you're not being treated the way that you are supposed to be treated. And I watched the reunion this morning and, I love, diving into the comments. I got to see what the consensus is. I got to see what people are saying. And a lot of people were commenting on the latter part of the reunion where Mario revealed that he was instead with Reva and not with Tondy. And my assumption is that Tondy was not aware that Mario and Reva were together. And it was a shock, because Mario and Tondy had been pursuing each other throughout the show. At one point, Mario and Reva kind of had something, and Mario was going back and forth, as some of the men do on these types of shows. Even in season 1 of Ready to Love, we had similar situations as well, although I do feel like season 1 was far more authentic than season 2. But that's a different conversation. But it was a shock. And what I wanted to, and what I got from the comments was that people were disappointed in Reva and was saying that that's dirty and that was wrong. And people were kind of coming down on Reva and defending Tondy, which I don't see the issue with that, because that was embarrassing. Like, that was essentially them embarrassing Tondy on national TV. So I understand why people came to her defense. However, I do want to tie in the idea of being able to walk away with the reunion and the whole Mario Tondy Reva situation. The reason why some would argue Reva didn't end up with Mario is because she self-eliminated. She essentially walked away from a situation that was not serving her best interests. She walked away from a man who was being iffy with her. He was going between two different women. And so she demonstrated the ability to walk away, as Chloe talks about, right? And so Reva took her power back. You know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of men, especially just in the dynamic of the show, men like to be in power. Men like to dominate. And so men like the idea of women battling each other for his love, attention, and affection. So when Reva stepped away, she took away Mario's ability to be the decider. She took away his power. And I feel like it was an ego thing for Mario to say, oh my goodness, you're not going to bend over backwards. You're not going to fight for my love. You're not going to submit to this power structure where you are fighting for my love, where I am the prize. As the man, I am the prize, and you're not going to fight for me. And so I thought that, of course, I don't know the intricacies of what happened, but Reva self-eliminated. And because of that, she delivered a blow to Mario's ego. And so I feel as though because she did walk away, she created value in herself, right? Because men are hunters, they chase, right? And men love to, for lack of a better word, conquer things, right? And so Reva positioned herself as something that could not be conquered. And so Mario wasn't feeling that, you know what I mean? And so just as a man, naturally, he wanted to conquer that. So I just thought that was an interesting take, and I wanted to connect those things. And it seems like the women in the comment, or the commenters that I assume are women, aren't necessarily connecting that. Like, Reva self-eliminated. She walked away. She knew her value. She knew that she deserved better, that she deserved more. And she walked away. And so it left Mario in a position where he had to, for lack of a better word, settle because Tondy was the last woman standing. Mind you, she is a beautiful woman, careered, amazing singer, amazing body, right? She checks off the boxes of a conventionally attractive and desirable woman, right? So why was it that Mario still wasn't satisfied just having her and being in a monogamous relationship with her? A second piece, when the bombshell was revealed and Tondy said to Reva, "How does my cat taste?" That told me that she and Mario probably did have sexual intercourse. And unfortunately, that's probably her downfall, right? Because going back to the idea of men conquering women, Mario felt he had conquered Tondy, right? He was able to taste her cat and experience her cat, right? So he probably felt, okay, I've conquered her. So now let me run back over and conquer this woman that I couldn't before, right? So again, I'm not, agreeing with what happened and what was done. It was dirty. I just feel like people are missing or not critically thinking and diving into the personification of being able to walk away and the result of that, right? Reva was able to walk away, and the result was she ended up getting the man. Now, I will say that Reva's whole demeanor throughout the reunion was very like, honey, I know something that you don't know. She was giving me that whole and again, I'm at home watching something that was probably filmed months ago, and I could still pick up that vibe from her, that energy from her. And women are very intuitive, and I'm pretty sure there were other women who could just sense Reva got something going on, like the way, her facial expressions, the way that she would open and close her eyes very slowly, just the way that she positioned her hand on her face, the tilt in her head. You know what I mean? Like when you are perceptive, and intuitive, you can pick up on very small details. And that's what I enjoy about being, a woman. Like I can really just you just give me just give me some time and I could really pick up on a person's vibe and what their energy is. And so just the subtle ways that she was moving on the stage and her facial expressions told me that, okay, there's something happening here. And Tondy even said backstage with Miss Alexis, who she is a whole nother topic that I do want to get into, but not right now. But Tondy backstage was talking to Alexis, and she was like, I feel something funny in the air. Something's happening, right? Tondy is intuitive. She could feel that something is happening, especially when Mario had his little outburst, right? Again, because Tondy is under the impression that they can still work things out, right? So she's touching him, probably being affectionate, and he being in a relationship with Reva, right, was like, oh, you can't be touching up on me, whatever. Okay, lost my train of thought. But I will say that the way that Reva was moving, that's where I was. It was like, it's hard to explain, but I did not care for how she responded. The snapping and she won. And what really got me was somebody on the stage said, ew. And their mic was really hot. So you just heard ew.
Best woman won. Ew.
Wow. And the producers and the editors are so shady for that because they have control over, what's left in and what's left out. But it almost felt like Reva was relishing in the fact that she got Mario. But it's just if he wanted you, he would have pursued you in the way that, Darren pursued Ashima. And again, they are another topic as well. But, he wouldn't have wasted his time with Tondy if he was so into you. He just would have went after you, pursued you in the first place. The reason why you self-eliminated was because he enjoyed having a choice. He enjoyed having two women vying for his attention. And when you decided to step back and self-eliminate, you stripped him of that power. So he, for lack of a better word again, settled for Tondy when maybe he was really feeling you. And it just goes to show that these are, again, mature people in their, 30s, early 40s, possibly early 50s, still playing games. But the way that she was like, oh, this woman won, and the way that she was moving her shoulders, her body, her upper body, and the snapping and the forced kiss with Mario, it was just so like, Reva, like your low self-esteem is showing, honey. Like, you don't have to do all that. You know what I mean? If that was the case and Mario was really feeling you and y'all reconnected after the show and he walked over there and sat beside you, all you had to do was remain in that feminine, just be contained in your femininity, gracefully lay your hand on his thigh or his knee. If you all choose to exchange a kiss, make it very modest, and just sit there with your head held high and sit there and look pretty. You know what I mean? Just sit there, be pretty with your head held high. And, you don't have to relish in it. You don't have to relish in another woman's heartbreak. You don't have to relish in the fact that Tondy got embarrassed. You know what I mean? Like, that is what made you look so insecure and made you look like you had low self-esteem, because what you essentially said, verbally and non-verbally, what you essentially implied was that this man validated you. The fact that he's now sitting beside you validates you, right? That you are not secure in yourself outside of other people, right? That your validation, came from this man deciding to leave her to be with you, right? And so I didn't like that. And Reva's whole demeanor was just like, oh, I won, I got the man, and da-da-da-da-da, which again ties back to the ability to walk away, right? Like, when you walk away, you present yourself as something that is valuable, right? And men will chase, right? Because I guess men are used to being outnumbered anyway. And so they're used to women going the extra mile for their attention. And Reva pulled back and she didn't do that. And I respect that part about Reva's, capability. But the way that she was relishing in, oh, I won, like, girl, bye. Whatever. You know what I mean? I didn't care for that part. And then it ties into yet another idea of, like, women, I can't fault Tondy for fighting for something that she wanted, because when you love someone, you do fight for them. You don't just say, okay, you know what? If y'all want me, then don't talk to me. Da, da, da. You can if that's your personality, but you do it when you really love someone and want to be with someone and you share a connection and you value them. You do fight for them. So I can't fault Tondy for fighting tooth and nail, as, Mario said on the show, but it just goes to show you, women, when you do fight tooth and nail, and you make yourself so accessible to a man, and it just makes you like, he knows, okay, yes, she's fighting for me. Yes, she's going to be there whenever I need her. So I can go and check these other women out. You know what I mean? When you make yourself so accessible, right? The basics of economics, supply and demand, right? When there is little supply, the demand skyrockets, right? Think about the Popeye's chicken sandwich. I know we're tired of hearing about it, but when there was little demand, lines were wrapped around the store and spilling onto the highways and the streets, right? But when there's a surplus of supply, the demand isn't high because there's enough product to go around. We don't have to clamor outside of the store and wait, hours in line for a sandwich. There's supply here, right? So it's the same thing when you supply way too much of your time and your body and your energy. There's no reason for this man to, to reciprocate. There's no reason for him to I hate to say it, but there's no reason for him to take you serious, because he knows that he's got you. He doesn't have to fight for you in the way that you're fighting for him, because he got you, right? But when you pull back and when you're less accessible and, you give him less of your time, less of your body, less of your energy, then the demand increases. Now he wants you more, right? And so I think that was sort of the dynamic between Mario and Reva. Like, she withdrew her time and her energy. You know what I mean? She lessened the supply of herself to him, the availability to him. And so then he went chasing her. So I just wanted to point that out. I had another point that I wanted to make, but I just wanted to point that out. Like, I think, yes, we're mad at Reva and we think she's dirty and she's sloppy seconds, but look at her actions and what she exhibited prior. She was able to walk away from a situation that wasn't benefiting her. And in the end, though it wasn't the best way, right, she did end up getting the man, right? So I don't know. And I do think that Reva will fit in better with Mario's family anyway. I didn't really like their vibes and their energies either. You know what I mean? So I think Reva is a better fit when it comes to Mario's family. I think Tondy will be just fine. She's a gorgeous woman. She's good. She's beautiful. She'll find a man that will wife her. And I think it's even going back to season 1 of Ready to Love with Ashley. And I believe his name was Alex. I think it's Alex. He had brain flu and recovered, and she was ride or die for him, and she stuck it out, and then he ended up not even being with her in the end. So imagine you're giving a man your time, your energy, your support, your love, all for what? For nothing, for him to embarrass you on national TV, women. So put yourself first and be able to walk away. You never know, right? Me personally, I went through a really bad breakup. It broke my heart, my first ever heartbreak, when I was right before college. And that experience taught me to be able to walk away, to understand that sometimes your closure comes in the form of not getting closure and just having to close that book and just walk away. Right. So it's a valuable skill to have. And it looks like it worked in Reva's favor. Now, the whether or not their relationship is successful is another thing. And, I don't have much interest in that. But I just wanted to tie that together. Like, Reva was able to self-eliminate and walk away. And she ended up getting Mario's attention. So there was another point I wanted to make, but it escapes me in this moment. But I just wanted to just make that connection. We're not a big fan of Reva right now, but she was able to walk away from a situation that wasn't serving her best interests. So maybe there's something that we can learn from her. But thank you guys for tuning in. I just wanted to make that connection. Thank you, Chloe, for your wise words. Chloe is not pulling this information out of thin air. She is on to something. Okay, so just wanted to draw that parallel for you guys, but and just come with a different take. But thank you all so much for tuning in and listening, and definitely, leave your perspectives in the comments. Let me know what you think. Are you for or against Mario and Reva? You know what I mean? Let's chat about it. Thanks again for tuning in, guys.